Welcome back to Music 101. This is for the lecture date February 11th. We're going over chapter 15 today, and we're moving through the Middle Ages. We talked about Gregorian chants in the last video, which is mainly monophonic. We're moving into polyphony now. Polyphony is one of the single most important features in the development of Western music. Remember, polyphony means multiple voices. Now, instead of the same line, we have several different voices going on. So European polyphony is very distinctive. We have the Romanesque era from 8500 to 1150. That's kind of when polyphony started to emerge. There's precise rhythm, pitch indicated, an exact notational system developed. So we talked about the neumes in the previous video. So that notational system is being developed. Then we have the Gothic era, where individual composers are recognized, more clerics in religious communities, extended works in varied textures and forms. So we're just moving through the stages of polyphony. And all of this was developed at Notre Dame choir, which we'll get to in a little bit. Now, we're going to talk about organum today. It's where the polyphonic art kind of started to blossom. It is the earliest form of polyphony, and it is a second voice that's added to Gregorian melody. And I'm going to give you an example of that in just a little bit. But that's greater independence of voices. We have the lower voices, which is a Gregorian chant, extremely long notes. The upper voices, freely composed, moving rapidly, and the chant sometimes no longer recognizable. So the example of some of the Notre Dame composers at the forefront, we have Léonin here. He is the first composer of polyphonic music. So let's go back here. And whose name we know, and he compiled the great book of organum. So we're going to go back over to our listening examples here. And you can kind of get an example of let's see if they have an example of organum. This is not the exact one, but you can get an idea. So we have the sustained lower notes of the chant. You can see how it's totally different from the previous chants that we were listening to. So this is a little bit later on. This is what we just listened to. Oh, excuse me. But it's kind of similar because this guy, his successor, expanded organum to the 3 to 4 voices which we just heard. So, polyphonic music increasingly sought after. It's becoming more popular. It requires specialized singers. It enhanced important feast days, and it became a mark of distinction. And we just listened to this one, which is Rejoice Virgin Mary, and it's a prayer in praise of the Virgin Mary. And it's in the style, and possibly by this composer as well. It's a 3-part polyphony, so you can hear the 3 voices, and then the sustained bottom voice taken from the chant of the same name. And we just talked about those. So basically what you really need to know about polyphony is that it has multiple things going on, and you can see a stack here. We have, this would be the chant tone here, and this whole thing is an example of an organum, where we have the upper two voices moving over a stained third voice. So you can kind of see that. So here's the sustained long chant note, and then this would be the organum on top, and you can see the two voices moving there. But the main difference between Gregorian chant and polyphony is the fact that there's multiple things going on. Gregorian chant is just one line, and it's monophonic, and then when you get to polyphony, it has the multiple voices. So you can see this is kind of the same rhythm, but then rhythm gets different here, and it's just two different parts, which is polyphony. So chapter 15 is a pretty short. I think we'll cover chapter 16 in this video too. Actually, I think we'll do chapter 16 in the next video so I can make these a little shorter and be able to upload these. So yeah, thank you guys. We'll stay tuned for chapter 16.